All right. Okay, y'all. Sorry I had to get YouTube straight first this morning. All right. We live on both of them now. So that's Swabble, beautiful people. That's Swabble. Even Saul Bona, Tiffany. Good morning, Auntie. Okay. Go ahead. All right. We good. Let me just say good morning here. Make sure somebody respond back. Good morning, people. Trina, hey girl, hey, switching over once you get it going. Okay, I think it's up, Tiffany. Okay, one person is in. Okay, so we live. I messed it up this morning. Good morning, beautiful people. Happy Monday, happy Monday. Okay, Tiffany, if you want to switch over to YouTube, we good to go. All right, that's Wabble, Trina. Okay, let me go ahead and minimize this so we can get going this morning. Everybody enjoy their weekend. Slide that right there. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. Uh-oh. Okay. All right, y'all. Happy Monday. It is November 23rd, 2020. Day 5 of year 3 of reading through the books of the law and the prophets, also known as the Old Testament, and of the 3-year consecutive day count, day 673. 673. All right, y'all. Today we are reading Genesis 13, 14, and 15. And we are going to read Jasher 3 and 4. And I'm going back to 3 and 4 because I didn't do this last time, and I posted a couple things by Enoch and something. Sawubona again, yeah. Something that I wanted to point out. If you guys, okay, so you'll hear me talk about Enoch and everything, but as I was up the last couple days and early this morning, reading, going back to the beginning of Jasher, there's a portion, like if you read in the book of Enoch, you will read some of it, but some of it is not in there included in Enoch. It's actually in these 2 chapters of Jasher. So I thought it'd be real good that we just backtrack to this real quick because we talked about Enoch chapter 15 and what happened in Enoch chapter 15 and how the evil spirits were created on earth. It explains all of that. So just to give you a little bit more detail about what Enoch did before we continue to move on. Yeah, so we're gonna do that, and it's really, really good, y'all. It really is. So let's get started. Genesis chapter 13. Let me make sure I'm in the right version here. Okay. This over. Okay. Okay, now. Genesis chapter 13. So Abram left Egypt and traveled north into the Negev along with his wife and Lot and all that they owned. Abram was very rich in livestock, silver, and gold. From the Negev, they continued traveling by stages toward Bethel, and they pitched their tents between Bethel and Ai, where they had camped before. This was the same place where Abram had built an altar, and there he worshipped Yahuwah again. Lot, who was traveling with Abram, had also become very wealthy with flocks of sheep and goats and herds of cattle and many tents. But the land could not support both Abram and Lot with all their flocks and herds living so close together. So disputes broke out between the herdsmen of Abram and Lot. At that time, the Canaanites and the Perizzites were also living in the land. Finally, Abram said to Lot, "Let's not allow this conflict to come between us or our herdsmen. After all, we are close relatives. The whole countryside is open to you. Take your choice of any section of the land you want, and we will separate. If you want the land to the left, then I'll take the land to the right. If you prefer the land on the right, then I'll go to the left." Lot took a long look at the fertile plains of the Jordan Valley in the direction of Zoar. The whole area was well watered everywhere, like the garden Yahuwah like the garden of Yahuwah or the beautiful land of Egypt. This was before Yahuwah destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah. Lot chose for himself the whole Jordan Valley to the east of them. He went there with his flocks and servants and parted company with his uncle Abram. So Abram settled in the land of Canaan, and Lot moved his tents to a place near Sodom and settled among the cities of the plain. But the people of this area were extremely wicked and constantly sinned against Yahuwah. After Lot had gone, Yahuwah said to Abram, "Look as far as you can see in every direction, north and south, east and west. I am giving all this land as far as you can see to you and your descendants as a permanent possession. And I will give you so many descendants like the dust of the earth, they cannot be counted. So go, walk through the land in every direction, for I am giving it to you." So Abram moved his camp to Hebron and settled near the oak grove belonging to Mamre. There he built another altar to Yahuwah. Genesis chapter 14. About this time, war broke out in the region. King Amraphel of Babylonia, King Arioch of Elasar, King Kedorlaomer of Elam, and King Tidal of Goim fought against King Bera of Sodom, King Birsha of Gomorrah, King Shinab of Admah, King Shemeber of Zeboim, and the king of Bela, also called Zor. This second group of kings joined forces in Siddim Valley, that is, the valley of the Dead Sea. For 12 years, they had been subject to King Kedorlaomer, but in the 13th year, they rebelled against him. 1 year later, Kedorlaomer and his allies arrived and defeated the Rephites at Ashtaroth Karnaim, the Zuzites at Ham, the Emites at Shaveh Kirathaim, and the Horites at Mount Seir, as far as El Paran at the edge of the wilderness. Then they turned back and came to En Mishpat, now called Kadesh, and conquered all the territory of the Amalekites and also the Amorites living in Hazazon Tamar. Then the rebel kings of Sodom, Gomorrah, Admah, Zeboim, and Bela, also called Zor, prepared for battle in the valley of the Dead Sea. They fought against King Kedorlaomer of Elam, King Tidal of Goim, King Amraphel of Babylonia, and King Arioch of Elasar, 4 kings against 5. As it happened, the valley of the Dead Sea was filled with tar pits, and as the army of the kings of Sodom and Gomorrah fled, some fell into the tar pits, while the rest escaped into the mountains. The victorious invaders then plundered Sodom and Gomorrah and headed for home, taking with them all the spoils of war and the food supplies. They also captured Lot, Abram's nephew, who lived in Sodom, and carried off everything he owned. But one of Lot's men escaped and reported everything to Abram, the Hebrew, who was living near the oak grove belonging to Mamre, the Amorite. Mamre and his relatives, Eshcol and Aner, were Abram's allies. When Abram heard that his nephew Lot had been captured, he mobilized the 318 men who had been born into his household. Then he pursued Kedorlaomer's army until he caught up with them at Dan. There he divided his men and attacked during the night. Kedorlaomer's army fled, but Abram chased them as far as Hobah, north of Damascus. Now let me just interject something here if you guys did not know. Remember how I was telling you there's a whole bunch that was not included here in the canonized 66 book of the Bible about what Abram did. Abraham ruled over armies. This boy was bad. So if you have not read all the details about Abram growing up and all the feats he accomplished, I really, really suggest that you go in there and read it, so you can get a better understanding of the cliff notes that we find about him in Genesis. Some of the stuff will make way more sense. And as you continue to read along, you'll remember some of the things and you'll begin connecting pieces as we go through Exodus and Numbers and Leviticus and Deuteronomy. So I'm going to just keep reiterating that to y'all. Y'all should go read, because we just don't have enough time to read through all that stuff. Although I'm picking and pulling out some pieces to kind of help bring some stuff together for you on your own time. Go listen to it or lay eyes on it and read it yourself, okay? Abram had a huge army, and them boys was fighting. They were bad. I'm telling you. You got to read some of it. Okay. Then he pursued Chedorlaomer's army until he caught up with them at Dan. There he divided his men and attacked during the night. Chedorlaomer's army fled, but Abram chased them as far as Hobah, north of Damascus. Abram recovered all the goods that had been taken, and he brought back his nephew Lot with his possessions and all the women and other captives. After Abram returned from his victory over Chedorlaomer and his allies, the king of Sodom went out to meet him in the valley of Sheva, that is, the king's valley. And Melchizedek, I don't know why I can't pronounce it this morning. Melchizedek, and Melchizedek, the king of Salem, and the priest of the Most High brought Abram some bread and wine. Melchizedek blessed Abram with this blessing. Blessed be Abram by Yahuwah Most High, creator of heaven and earth. And blessed be Yahuwah Most High, who has defeated your enemies for you. Then Abram gave Melchizedek a tenth of all the goods he had recovered. Now, let me also bring out another point. If you guys don't know who this Melchizedek is, it is Shem. It is Abraham's great grandson. That was his blood, who was king. Remember, not king, like the high priest. Melchizedek is like the high priest. Melchizedek is a title, not a name. The name of this Melchizedek is Shem, the very Shem who was born to Noah. And if you read Jasher and Jubilees, you will see, and they call him by name. Okay, I brought that out because I've been under a few teachings that does not label this man as Shem. They label him as somebody else, and that is not true. You got to read the story. Then Abram gave Melchizedek a tenth of all the goods he had recovered. The king of Sodom said to Abram, "Give back my people who were captured, but you may keep for yourself all the goods you have recovered." And Abram replied to the king of Sodom, "I solemnly swear to Yahuwah, God Most High, creator of heaven and earth, that I would not take so much as a single thread or a sandal thong from what belongs to you. Otherwise, you might say, I am the one who made Abram rich. I will accept only what my young warriors have already eaten, and I request that you give a fair share of the goods to my allies, Aner, Eshcol, and Mamre." All right, last chapter of Genesis for today. Then we're going to hop right over to Jasher 3 and 4, y'all. Sometime later, Yahuwah spoke to Abram in a vision and said to him, "Do not be afraid, Abram, for I will protect you, and your reward will be great." But Abram replied, "O sovereign Lord, what good are all your blessings when I don't even have a son? Since you have given me no children, Eliezer of Damascus, a servant in my household, will inherit all my wealth. You have given me no descendants of my own, so one of my servants will be my heir." Then Yahuwah said to him, "No, your servant will not be your heir, for you will have a son of your own who will be your heir." Then Yahuwah took Abram outside and said to him, "Look up into the sky and count the stars if you can. That's how many descendants you will have." And Abram believed Yahuwah, and Yahuwah counted him as righteous because of his faith. Then Yahuwah told him, "I am Yahuwah, who brought you out of Ur of the Chaldeans to give you this land as your possession." But Abram replied, "O sovereign Lord, how can I be sure that I will actually possess it?" Yahuwah told him, "Bring me a 3-year-old heifer and a 3-year-old female goat, a 3-year-old ram, a turtle dove, and a young pigeon." So Abram presented all these to him and killed them. Then he cut each animal down the middle and laid the halves side by side. He did not, however, cut the birds in half. Some vultures swooped down to eat the carcasses, but Abram chased them away. As the sun was going down, Abram fell into a deep sleep, and a terrifying darkness came over him. Then Yahuwah said to Abram, "You can be sure that your descendants will be strangers in a foreign land, where they will be oppressed as slaves for 400 years. But I will punish the nation that enslaves them, and in the end they will come away with great wealth. As for you, you will die in peace and be buried at a ripe old age. After 4 generations, your descendants will return here to this land, for the sins of the Amorites do not yet warrant their destruction. Yahuwah took them outside. Okay, so remember I was telling y'all about the apocalypse of Abraham? I truly believe that when this darkness fell upon Abraham, he went into the deep sleep. I baby, love you. That's when he had this vision. Don't quote me on that, but I'm almost certain, based on all the information that I hold right now, when he fell asleep at this time, I believe this is when he had this vision or this dream, right? Okay, so I'll post that again here in the comments if you haven't read it or listened to it. It's the apocalypse of Abraham, and he goes into detail telling him about all the things that's going to happen during this time and how his descendants will be captured and how they will be treated and the different types of deaths and how the earth will begin rocking and reeling at all the injustice that's happening as the sons of Yah, their blood is being spilled upon the earth. Shalom, shalom. All right, y'all. After the sun went down and darkness fell, Abram saw a smoking fire pot and a flaming torch pass between the halves of the carcasses. So Yahuwah made a covenant with Abram and said, I have given this land to your descendants, all the way from the border of Egypt to the great Euphrates River, the land now occupied by the Canaanites, the Kenites, Kenizzites, Cadmonites, Hittites, Perizzites, Rephites, Amorites, Canaanites, Girgashites, and the Jebusites. Remember, Saturday when we read in what did we read? Jasher? No, we read Jubilees. No, it was Friday when we read Jubilees 8. Remember how we found out that the land that Ham's descendants came in, that they had occupied, that it was not originally their land. It was originally Shem's from the beginning. All of his descendants forever, and they was taken up there. So when Yahuwah was taking Abram back to the promised land, the land that he was given, he said the land is now occupied by these people. But from the beginning, it always belonged to him and his descendants. They just decided they want to go there because it was the best land, and they said, we ain't moving. So Yahuwah said, I'm going to root them out bit by bit. All right, y'all. Bella, stop. She can't even hear me. She got her headphones on. Stop. Okay, y'all. So let's go ahead and hop over to Jasher 3 and 4. Okay, so remember I said when we read Jasher 3 and 4, we're going to backtrack just a little bit. And we're going to read something about Enoch because it's going to help us understand some of the other stuff that I'm going to pull out in the coming days. Stop. Okay, so Jasher 3 and 4, y'all. And the rest of the story you can find in Enoch, but this particular portion was put in here. You know, Jasher comes after Enoch, but, you know, Anywho. All right, Jasher chapter 3. All right, y'all. And Enoch lived 65 years, and he begat Methuselah. And Enoch walked with Yahuwah after having begat Methuselah, and he served Yahuwah and despised the evil ways of men. And the soul of Enoch was wrapped up in the instruction of Yahuwah, in knowledge and in understanding. And he wisely retired from the sons of men and secreted himself from them for many days. And it was at the expiration of many years, while he was serving Yahuwah and praying before him in his house, that an angel of Yahuwah called to him from heaven, and he said, Here am I. And he said, Rise, go forth from your house and from the place where you do hide yourself, and appear to the sons of men, in order that you may teach them the way in which they should go, and the work which they must accomplish, to enter into the ways of Yahuwah. And Enoch rose up according to the word of Yahuwah, and went forth from his house, from his place, from the chamber in which he was concealed. And he went to the sons of men and taught them the ways of Yahuwah. And at that time assembled the sons of men and acquainted them with the instruction of Yahuwah. You need help opening that? Bella, you need help opening that? Let me help you. Okay. I'm sorry, y'all. Just keep rattling the bag. There you go. All right. I'm sorry. Greetings. That's Bible. Okay, y'all. And he ordered it to be proclaimed in all places where the sons of men dwelt, saying, where is the man who wishes to know the ways of Yahuwah and good works? Let him come to Enoch. And all the sons of men then assembled to him, for all who desired this thing went to Enoch, and Enoch reigned over the sons of men according to the word of Yahuwah. And they came and bowed to him, and they heard his word. And the spirit of Yahuwah was upon Enoch, and he taught all his ways. And he taught all his and he taught all his men the wisdom of Yahuwah and his ways. And the sons of men served Yahuwah all the days of Enoch, and they came to hear his wisdom. And all the kings of the sons of men, both first and last, together with their princes and judges, came to Enoch when they heard of his wisdom, and they bowed down to him. And they also required of Enoch to reign over them, to which he consented. And they assembled in all 130 kings and princes, and they made Enoch king over them, and they were all under his power and command. And Enoch taught them wisdom, knowledge, and the ways of Yahuwah. And he made peace among them, and peace was throughout the earth during the life of Enoch. Now, we would never get any of this if we don't read outside of what the early church fathers canonized and gave to the masses. All the letters were written for all the people, for all generations, but for some reason they felt like they was the boss of everybody, and we're going to give y'all what we want y'all to read, and we're going to tell y'all about everything else. I'm so glad this stuff has been revealed to us, so we get the full story, so we know what's really going on here, people, and we can live quiet and peaceable lives and walk in the wisdom of Yah. We can walk as Enoch walked. Oh my gosh. Okay. And they assembled, I'm going to read this again. And they assembled in all 130 kings and princes, and they made Enoch king over them, and they were all under his power and command. And Enoch taught them wisdom, knowledge, and the ways of Yahuwah, and he made peace among them, and peace was throughout the earth during the life of Enoch. And Enoch reigned over the sons of men 243 years. How many of y'all know that Enoch was a king before he was taken up to rule over the Watchers? Remember how the Watchers was in charge? But Yahuwah said, I'm going to bring up Enoch and put Enoch in charge of y'all. Listen. And Enoch reigned over the sons of men 243 years, and he did justice and righteousness with all his people, and he led them in the ways of Yahuwah. And these are the generations of Enoch, Methuselah, Elisha, and Elimelech, 3 sons, and their sisters were Milcah and Naamah. And Methuselah lived 87 years, and he begat Lamech. And it was in the 56th year of the life of Lamech when Adam died. Remember when we read the other day how Lamech killed Cain by mistake? I think Adam was still alive. Yeah, during that time, Adam was still alive. He died during that time. Okay. And it was in the 56th year of the life of Lamech when Adam died. 930 years old was he at his death. And his 2 sons, with Enoch and Methuselah, his sons, buried him with great pomp, as at the burial of kings, in the cave which Yahuwah had told them. And in that place all the sons of men made a great mourning and weeping on account of Adam. It has therefore become a custom among the sons of men this day. Let me just say something, y'all. Okay. These are just my thoughts, right? How amazing is it that, first of all, Enoch is still alive? He was taken up, I'm sure, as he was taken up into heaven to rule over the Watchers. He was changed. So he changed. I'm sure he changed from flesh, because flesh is only down here in this realm that we're at. So Enoch is still alive, and he's ruling. So he's seen all these generations. Mind you, Yahuwah has revealed to Enoch all the generations that were going to come, even up until Judgment Day. And if you will read all the book of Enoch all the way to the end, it actually goes through the different generations, even through the time when the children of Israel, before they went into captivity the first time in Egypt, what happened to them when they came out, and for many generations, or for generations to come, which is us. If you read through all that, you will see and you will understand it. But think about this. These are my thoughts. Enoch is still alive. Yahuwah has told him all the stuff that's going to happen, and he has been witness for all the generations, right? I'm not sure if Yahuwah would send Enoch down here to talk to one of us, but I think that would be pretty friggin' awesome. You know how some people get messages from angels or they get messages in dreams and stuff? Think about it. If Enoch came and talked to you, he can tell you about Adam. He was alive while Adam was alive. I mean, that just blow my mind. That's just my own thoughts here. I just wanted to say that because I've been thinking about that. I'm like, that's pretty freaking awesome. I don't know that we'd ever see Enoch or if Yahuwah would let him appear to us, but I'm just saying, I just be thinking about stuff like that. But anyway, okay. Okay. And in that place, all the sons of men made a great mourning and weeping on account of Adam. It has therefore become a custom among the sons of men to this day. And Adam died because he ate of the tree of knowledge, he and his children after him, as Yahuwah had spoken. And it was in the year of Adam's death, which was the 243rd year of the reign of Enoch. In that time, Enoch resolved to separate himself from the sons of men and to secret himself as at the first in order to serve Yahuwah. And Enoch did so, but did not entirely secret himself from them, but kept away from the sons of men 3 days, and then went to them for 1 day. And during the 3 days that he was in his chamber, he prayed to and praised Yahuwah. And the day on which he went and appeared to his subjects, he taught them the ways of Yahuwah. And all they asked him about Yahuwah, he told them. He did in this manner for many years, and he afterward concealed himself for 6 days and appeared to his people 1 day in 7. And after that, once a month, and then once a year, until all the kings, princes, and sons of men sought for him and desired again to see the face of Enoch and to hear his word, but they could not, as all the sons of men were greatly afraid of Enoch, and they feared to approach him on the account of the Yahuwah-like awe that was seated upon his countenance. Therefore, no man could look at him, fearing he might be punished and die. And remember, we also see the glory of Yahuwah rest on the face of Moses as well. By being constantly in his presence, your countenance begins to take on this light, and people are, ooh, and people, the flesh can see this light. May we all get to that point where Yahuwah's glory rests upon us and in us. And all the kings and princes resolved to assemble the sons of men and to come to Enoch, thinking that they might all speak to him at the time when he should come forth amongst them. And they did so. And the day came when Enoch went forth, and they all assembled and came to him. And Enoch spoke to them the words of Yahuwah, and he taught them wisdom and knowledge. And they bowed down before him, and they said, "May the king live, may the king live." Remember, Enoch is still king. And then sometime after, when the kings and princes and the sons of men were speaking to Enoch, and Enoch was teaching them the ways of Yahuwah, behold, an angel of Yahuwah then called unto Enoch from heaven and wished to bring him up to heaven to make him reign there over the sons of Yahuwah, as he had reigned over the sons of men upon the earth. Remember, the sons of Yahuwah, or the angels, as he had reigned over the sons of men upon the earth, over flesh. I read that again. And in some time after, when the kings and princes and the sons of men were speaking to Enoch, and Enoch was teaching them the ways of Yahuwah, behold, an angel of Yahuwah then called unto Enoch from heaven and wished to bring him up to heaven to make him reign there over the sons of Yahuwah, as he had reigned over the sons of men upon the earth. When at that time Enoch heard this, he went and assembled all the inhabitants of the earth and taught them wisdom and knowledge and gave them divine instructions. Bella, okay, can you be a little bit more quiet?
Huh?
You're extremely loud.
I need something.
Okay, you want to take it upstairs? Go sit on my foot locker with it.
No, boy, not.
Boy still asleep.
Boys don't want me.
They're not mean to you. They still sleep. Now, can you quiet down with the bag and the rattling?
No. This itching me.
Well, get up. Leave my plant alone. It ain't doing nothing to you.
And then on my hat pad.
Okay, I'm sorry, y'all. When at that time Enoch heard this, he went and assembled all the inhabitants of the earth and taught them wisdom and knowledge and gave them divine instruction. And he said to them, I have been required to ascend into heaven. I therefore do not know the day of my going. And now therefore I will teach you wisdom and knowledge and will give you instruction before I leave you how to act upon the earth, whereby you may live. And he did so. And he taught them wisdom and knowledge and gave them instruction, and he reproved them, and he placed before them commandments and judgments to do upon the earth. And he made peace amongst them, and he taught them everlasting life and dwelt with them sometime, teaching them all these things. And at that time, the sons of men were with Enoch, and Enoch was speaking to them, and they lifted up their eyes, and the likeness of a great horse descended from heaven, and the horse paced in the air. As they told Enoch what they had seen, and Enoch said to them, on my account does this horse descend upon earth. The time is come when I must go from you, and I shall no more be seen by you. And the horse descended at that time and stood before Enoch, and all the sons of men that were with Enoch saw him. And Enoch then again ordered a voice to be proclaimed, saying, where is the man who delights to know the ways of Yahuwah? Let him come this day to Enoch before he is taken from us. And all the sons of men assembled and came to Enoch that day. And all the kings of the earth with their princes and counselors remained with him that day. And Enoch then taught the sons of men wisdom and knowledge and gave them divine instruction. And he bade them to serve Yahuwah and walk in his ways all the days of their lives. And he continued to make peace amongst them. And it was after this that he rose up and rode upon the horse, and he went forth, and all the sons of men went after him, about 800,000 men, and they went with him one day's journey. And the second day he said to them, return home to your tents. Why will you go? Perhaps you may die. Some of them went from him, and those that remained went with him 6 days' journey. And Enoch said to them every day, return to your tents, lest you may die. But they were not willing to return, and they went with him. And on the 6th day, some of the men remained and clung to him. And they said to him, we will go with you to the place where you go. As Yahuwah lives, death only shall separate us. And they urged so much to go with him, and he ceased speaking to them. And they went after him and would not return. And when the kings returned, they caused a census to be taken in order to know the number of remaining men that went with Enoch. And it was upon the 7th day that Enoch ascended into a whirlwind with horses and chariots of fire. And on the 8th day, all the kings that had been with Enoch sent to bring back the number of men that were with Enoch in that place from which he ascended into heaven. And all those kings went to the place where they found the earth there filled with snow. And upon the snow were large stones of snow. And one said to the other, come, let us break through the snow and see. Perhaps the men that remained with Enoch are dead and are now under the stones of snow. And they searched, but could not find him, for he had ascended into heaven. All right, y'all, last chapter for the day. The last bit about Enoch that we'll find in Jasher. Jasher chapter 4. And all the days that Enoch lived upon the earth were 365 years. And when Enoch had ascended into heaven, all the kings of the earth rose and took Methuselah his son and anointed him. And they caused him to reign over them in the place of his father. And Methuselah acted uprightly in the sight of Yahuwah, and as his father Enoch had taught him. And he likewise, during the whole of his life, taught the sons of men wisdom, knowledge, and the fear of Yahuwah. And he did not turn from the good way, either to the right or to the left. But in the latter days of Methuselah, the sons of men turned from Yahuwah. They corrupted the earth. They robbed and plundered each other. and they rebelled against Yahuwah, and they transgressed, and they corrupted their ways, and would not hearken to the voice of Methuselah, but rebelled against him. Now, think about this, y'all. Remember when we were reading in the earlier chapters before the flood came. If we did not go back and get this, remember how Yahuwah, when Noah came on the scene, Yahuwah said, my spirit shall not always strive with men. I'm giving y'all 120 years to get it together. Meaning y'all got 120 years to repent and pull this together. Because mind you, Enoch had just recently left them not too long before then. So all these people who were probably still alive probably knew of Enoch and how he taught the sons of men how to live righteous upon the earth, that they may stay in the earth. Methuselah was alive. Methuselah was still alive when Noah was alive. Noah knew Enoch. Noah knew Methuselah, and they were teaching the men the same thing, the teachings that Enoch had got directly from heaven. Boy, people, they just don't care. And that's like the words of Yah, they just take it and cast it over their shoulders and continue doing what they're going to do. So they had all this wisdom, all this insight, these miraculous things that some of them have seen with their own eyes, passing it down, and they still acted a fool. And you know what? There's a deluge coming. All right. But in the latter days of Methuselah, the sons of men turned from Yahuwah. They corrupted the earth. They robbed and plundered each other, and they rebelled against Yahuwah, and they transgressed, and they corrupted their ways, and would not hearken to the voice of Methuselah, but rebelled against him. And Yahuwah was exceedingly wroth against them, and Yahuwah continued to destroy the seed in those days, so that there was neither sowing nor reaping in the earth. For when they sowed the ground, in order that they might obtain food for their support, behold, thorns and thistles were produced, which they did not sow. And still the sons of men did not turn from their evil ways, and their hands were still extended to do evil in the sight of Yahuwah, and they provoked Yahuwah with their evil ways, and Yahuwah was very wroth and repented that he had made man. Remember when we was reading in Jubilees, how there was Mastema set over for people who didn't do what was right. All the seed that they were planting was being eaten up by the ravens and stuff because they would not do what was right. And it talks about it here. The command is directly coming from Yahuwah, and Yahuwah is allowing Mastema to do this, eat up the seed, and that was a judgment for them to stop. Wait a minute, consider your ways. Consider your ways. How do we know? Let's read it again. For when they sowed, let's go back to 5. And Yahuwah was exceedingly wroth against them, and Yahuwah continued to destroy the seed in those days, so that there was neither sowing nor reaping in the earth. For when they sowed the ground in order that they might obtain food for their support, behold, thorns and thistles were produced, which they did not sow. And still the sons of men did not turn from their evil ways, and their hands were still extended to do evil in the sight of Yahuwah, and they provoked Yahuwah with all their evil ways, and Yahuwah was very wroth and repented that he had made man, and he thought to destroy and annihilate them, and he did so. In those days, when Lamech, the son of Methuselah, was 160 years old, Sheth, the son of Adam, died, and all the days that Sheth lived were 912 years, and he died, or Seth. And here it says Sheth, but it's Seth, y'all. And Lamech was 180 years old when he took Ashmua, the daughter of Elishua, the son of Enoch, his uncle, and she conceived. And at that time, the sons of men sowed the ground, and a little food was produced. Yet the sons of men did not turn from their evil ways, and they trespassed and rebelled against Yahuwah. As the woman of Lamech conceived and bore him a son at that time, at the revolution of the year, and Methuselah called his name Noah, saying, the earth was in his days at rest and free from corruption. And Lamech his father called his name Menachem, saying, this one shall comfort us in our works and miserable toil in the earth, which Yahuwah had cursed. And the child grew up and was weaned, and went in the ways of his father Methuselah, perfect and upright with Yahuwah. So we know Noah was perfect and upright and walked with Yahuwah. And all the sons of men departed from the ways of Yahuwah in those days as they multiplied upon the face of the earth with sons and daughters, and they taught one another their evil practices, and they continued sinning against Yahuwah. And every man made unto himself an Elohim or a God, and they robbed and plundered every man his neighbor as well as his relative, and they corrupted the earth, and the earth was filled with violence. And their judges and rulers went to the daughters of men and took their women by force from their men according to their choice. And the sons of men in those days took from the cattle of the earth and the beasts of the field and fowls of the air, and taught the mixture of animals of one species with another, in order therewith to provoke Yahuwah. And Yahuwah saw that the whole earth was corrupt, for all flesh had corrupted its ways upon the earth, all men and all animals. So y'all think the scientists here in our day just started the splicing of the genes and mixing animals and getting hybrids and different type of animals? They was doing this from the very beginning, y'all. They were doing this from the very beginning. I'm gonna read it again. And their judges and rulers went to the daughters of men and took their women by force from their men according to their choice. And the sons of men in those days took from the cattle of the earth and the beasts of the field and the fowls of the air, and taught the mixture of animals, one species with another, in order therewith to provoke Yahuwah. And Yahuwah saw the whole earth, and it was corrupt, for all flesh had corrupted its ways upon the earth, all men and all animals. And Yahuwah said, I will blot out man that I created from the face of the earth, yea, from man, the birds of the air, together with the cattle and beasts that are in the field, for I repent that I made them. And all men who walked in the ways of Yahuwah died in those days before Yahuwah brought the evil upon man, which he had declared. For this was from Yahuwah, that they should not see the evil which Yahuwah spoke of concerning the sons of men. And Noah found grace in the sight of Yahuwah, and Yahuwah chose him and his children to raise up seed from them upon the face of the whole earth. And that is our reading for today. Remember, a few days ago, we actually read this next chapter, Jasher chapter 5 and 6, about Noah. And that's when it gets into the 120 days, and Noah was building the ark, and the animals came and crouched and all that stuff, and the animals that was left chasing away while it was trying to get into the ark and stuff. So I hope you guys enjoyed the reading for today. So tomorrow I'm going to bring out a different part as we move on. So at the end of Genesis today, we know Yahuwah gave the promise to his seed and talks about the 400 years of captivity, not when they was in Egypt the first time, because they were not actually captive in Egypt for 400 years. They weren't slaves for 400 years. They sojourned through Egypt 430 years, as we see in Jubilees. But all that time where they sojourned, they were not slaves. Remember, the first half of the time, they were freely living about. Joseph was still alive. The old Pharaoh was on the scene, and life was good for the seed of Abraham. Life was good until after Joseph died. And after Joseph died and a new Pharaoh came on the scene, and they was about to get into a fight with these other clans and tribes around here, and they found out that Israel, the children of Israel that were living in their land, were the cousins of the people that they had beef with. So they said, let us deal wisely with this people, least they join to our enemies. How we know when we get out here to war that they're not going to turn on us and join with their cousins and defeat us and take over Egypt. And that's how it started, y'all. So y'all get all the pieces of the puzzle. Y'all can understand the story a whole lot better. And some of the erroneous teachings that are being taught and put out here in the streets, in the churches, we can begin to correct and adjust based on truth. We are to worship Yahuwah in spirit and in truth. Right now, a lot of Yahuwah's people is worshiping him in spirit, but they're completely ignorant and refuse to wake up. Yahuwah said, my people perish for the lack of knowledge. People, it's here for the takings for all of us. Let's get the knowledge, the truth of Yahuwah's word as it's being revealed and restored to us, so we can begin to worship him in spirit and in truth. And we'll see the power of Yah begin to descend in this place as in days of old. I'm super excited about that, y'all. So that is our reading for today. That was Genesis 13, 14, 15, and we read Jasher 3 and 4. It is Monday, November the 23rd, 2020, day 5 of year 3 of reading through the books of the law and the prophets, another 3-year consecutive day count, day 673. 673. All right, y'all. It's all about consistency and discipline in order to have growth. You have to daily feed your spirit, daily pray, live a life of sanctity, sanctification. Just, and that simply means do what's right. Do what's right in your life. Do what's right in regards to other people. Treat them fairly. If you're in positions of leadership, do proper justice, rule appropriately. Don't take advantage of people. If you're in a position to restore something to somebody, do it. Do what's right. That's all Yahuwah wants. He wants us to do what's right and proper justice, not to take advantage of anybody. All right, y'all. So let's go ahead and do the blessing. Numbers chapter 6, verses 22 through 27. Remember, the first 21 verses is the Nazarite vow. All right, y'all. And Yahuwah spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto Aaron and unto his sons, saying, On this wise ye shall bless the children of Israel, saying unto them, May Yahuwah bless us and keep us. May Yahuwah make his face to shine upon us like it did upon Moses and Enoch. May Yahuwah's face shine upon us and be gracious unto us. May Yahuwah lift up his countenance upon us and give us his peace. And they shall put my name upon the children of Israel. And I, Yahuwah, will bless them. All right, beautiful people. I love y'all. And I see y'all bright and early in the morning, 7:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Peace.